DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Welcome to DJNTV and Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe. Now introducing the one and only Ben Stowe.
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
There it is. Man, sometimes computers...
Are we alive?
We are. You'd think this computer is big enough and fast enough and doggone it, it just wants to work, and then it doesn't.
I'm big enough and fast enough and doggone it, I'm going to work.
Oh, man, let's go. So we'll pretend. 3, 2... Good evening and welcome to Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe. This is the show where all of the world's problems are solved without an election. No? Yes? No?
How much time do we have?
Just enough to cover Ben's top picks from NAMM 2020. For those of you who were living under a rock this past week, or you were shoveling snow in Minnesota like I was, NAMM happened out in Anaheim. People came, people saw, things were displayed, food was eaten from food trucks. It was a wonderful experience. And Ben was there.
I was, and it was. It is the same old crazy that NAMM always is. And, you know, I think my NAMM experience is different from other people's. Of course, you know, I've gone so many years and have kind of a sense of the lay of the land. And obviously things changed a bunch a few years ago when the ACC North was built. But even so, we kind of have a sense now again of order, and it was really interesting hearing from people who went for the first time. You know, always interesting to hear what they had to say and how they were overwhelmed, and I could see that completely. You know, total sensory overload. I guess now there were like 150,000 people that went, and you know. Anyway, of course, our NAMM experience in the industry is just a lot different. You know, we're going to work. And it is very, very long, exhausting days of, you know, meetings and high level discussions and, you know, working hard for you, you know. So here I am. I've whittled all that down to 6 products that I liked at NAMM. We had a very long flight home, 3 flights home. We had a very long trip home, maybe is a good way of saying it. So I had some time to talk to our team, and there were 4 of us there, and we were in different meetings. And so we kind of compared notes. So in all fairness, we should probably not call this Ben's picks, although I made the final edit. We should call this Ben and Team's picks.
Well, speaking of team, now you had Kat and Katie were there, and they've been there before. Was it Nick? Is it
Kirk?
Was that his first time there?
Yeah, it is. And
okay,
it's really
funny I want you tell me a little bit about his impression with NAMM being the first time.
Well, I think for him, it was, you know, we had set him up in the same system that we operate in. So he had a schedule and he had appointments, and, you know, there was, you know, order within, you know, the chaos. We didn't just turn him loose and say, you know, go, because we know where that leads. Right. He had a lot of things he had to accomplish, and we set him out with clear goals, and he's a very bright guy. You know, he'll be taking over as our showroom manager in probably 1.5 to 2 years. He's the current assistant manager, but Kirk's actually, it was kind of neat because Kirk has a 20-year history as a touring guitar player.
Oh, so nice.
He was out on the road on tour for 20 years, working with various bands. And it was really neat that he actually knew some people there that he didn't know he knew. I mean, he knew them, but he didn't know they'd be there.
Right. Yeah.
And so it was really a neat experience at night talking to Kirk and sort of recapping the day. And he's like, yeah, and I ran into this, you know, buddy and, you know, whatever, and this guy. And, you know, and so that was really neat to hear. And I think his ability to speak, you know, his musicianship and his understanding of the industry and its inner workings, he performed, I think, much better than I would have expected from a first-year guy. I'm really proud of him. I think he did really well. So.
Nice. Excellent. I think we get some people joining us tonight. Joe is with us. DJ Harley, True Music is with us day and night. Ronald, thank you guys for being with us. If you guys have got any NAMM questions, put those please into the chat, and we're going to try to jump on those towards the latter part of the show after we kind of go through Ben and team's picks from NAMM 2020. So let's jump into it, Ben. Here, what in no particular order? You mentioned that already, so that way we don't have anyone saying what was I last.
No, they're not in any particular order. You know. In fact, even as I wrote them down, I thought, should they be? Should I try to rank them? I don't know. Goodness, there were, so many, new things and different things. And so I picked things that I felt like kind of, were innovative and moved the needle and would be impactful to our customers, to our viewers here that they would say, yeah, this is a bit of a game changer, as it were. So I guess let's just dive into it, and I'll go to some visual aids here.
Chris and John have questions on the Gigbar. We'll get to those if that's on Ben's list.
Which it is.
Okay, so he has it first on the list.
So I think, even though this concept is not new, and certainly there are a couple companies that make similar type products, this is the first one that I've seen that has moving lights on it, and it seems to be really well received. Of course, I think Disc Jockey News leaked it first. I think you guys were like the first to kind of leak it out there. So, kudos to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure your legal department was busy after that.
Yeah, that was not pretty for that day. But anyway, so how's the weather in Bemidji tonight?
Speaking of which, I did see Albert Chabet at the show. It was nice. He's no longer obviously working in our booth or anything, but it was nice to bump into him and just talk as old friends. So that was
cool.
That was good. It was, again, just that moment to talk outside of shop. But anyway, Gigbar Move. It's got a lot of stuff packed into one thing. You got the sort of flash and trash effect lights, the spin and puke. You got a couple of wash lights. It's got a couple of small moving heads. It has the strobes built in, and it has the laser, which, some people absolutely just hate the laser. Some people love the laser. Well, here you go. If you hate the laser, you can just disconnect it, or you can use it in DMX, and you can control exactly what everything's doing. Right. So, but at the end of the day, it's a light show in a bag, and you pull it out of the bag and you pop it up, and you got a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I see this as a great resource for many DJs who want something simple and with a lot of variety and a lot of impact. And if you're one of those DJs who's saying, well, I would never use this, blah, 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 insert reason here, don't buy it. That's the beautiful thing about what we do. It's an art form. It's artistic license. So what you do is your show, and it's your brand. And what somebody else does is their show, and it's their brand. And, it's just different strokes for different folks, as they say. So,
for sure.
Anyway,
go ahead. Yeah, you mentioned one of the questions was on the laser, about the ability to defeat that. And the other one was on... did you get a chance to the relationship between this and the Gigbar 2? Did you catch that?
Well, this is just different. It adds some moving lights. And it's
in one of the videos, and I don't remember if it was Katie's video, someone asked, and this can actually sync up with the Gigbar 2.
Oh, that relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, that relationship.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to kind of lead it on and get you there.
I appreciate it. I'm a little slow.
No, that's okay. I heard you had a 47-hour flight on Sunday, so, I'd understand.
Yeah, we left at 4 a.m. California time for the airport, and we got back about 1 a.m. Minnesota time. And that was, of course, right after doing the college football championship. So, viewers, I apologize if I look a little tired. I am. So, and then, of course, just diving right into the post-NAMM, digesting, processing the meetings, that sort of thing. So this next item.
Oh, hang on. No, we're not done yet.
Oh goodness! All right.
Okay, so Day is wondering what size wire cutter would one use to cut that laser off the top of that unit?
It's so funny because I was literally thinking that in the back of my mind. I'm like, look, if you don't want the laser, just a wire cutter will fix that. But actually, you don't need a wire cutter because right there you can just disconnect it. So,
Yeah, it's got a little screw or a little nut on there that holds that connection in. But
or better yet, you can use DMX. But anyway, I digress. So.
The question on there's one more question. I knew this was going to come up. They listed those as 10-watt moving head fixtures.
Right.
For most DJs, I don't know if you were able to get a good grasp when you saw it of how bright that was.
Yeah, I have my hands on this thing.
Okay, is it going to be bright enough for a wedding DJ to have that wow factor from those moving heads, or are they going to be kind of too dim? Because some people are like, why isn't it 20 watts? Why isn't it 60 watts? Why isn't it as bright as the sun? Those were the type of comments that were coming out on us.
A lot of different questions in that sentence, John.
You're welcome.
Is it bright enough to have a wow effect? That's really tough to answer because I think wow is subjective. I guess my answer would be no. It's another piece of the arsenal here, but this, let's be honest. This whole thing costs less than, one mid-size moving head.
Sure.
So, which is why the 20 watt, 60 watt, the reasons it's not is the cost. There is a particular market that this is aimed at. Again, it's that portable light show. And, I think weight and size and cost are all important factors when you consider putting something in a bag. So is it bright enough for a wedding? Well, yeah, maybe so. I mean, it depends on what you expect out of a moving light, it's certainly bright enough for, the type of application it's designed for,
Okay.
But no, you're not going to have blazingly bright light out of a 10-watt moving head. You're going to see some beams and some gobo patterns and things in low ambient light conditions. But if you're looking for really bright, intense cutting light, you need to be looking at, like not even a 60. I mean, it depends on what your wow means to you.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the moving heads move all the way up to, being 3-4 feet tall, and costing $20,000-$30,000. So there's a lot of room there in the family of what moving heads are and what they do. A lot of DJs are using things like the 155 and the 100, and a lot of DJs are using things like the 375.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I'm really glad you asked the question because it's one of those things where I think people sometimes expect too much, they expect something from nothing, so to speak. So again, when we look at the price, the size, and the weight, 10 watts is what you've got, and you've got some easy to deploy, inexpensive moving lights. But if you want something that's, concert quality, you probably want something bigger, and you want DMX. And, again, it's a tool, and it's not the right thing for every application. So
yeah, okay.
I'm really glad you brought that up because, and I was actually thinking, I was looking at this in a dim room, and I thought, yeah, these, you can see the beams, the moving heads are appropriately sized for everything else on the bar. How's that?
Okay. Yeah. They look like they fit there. And
and in terms of output too, like when you look at the light output from the moving heads, it's on par with everything else. No pun intended, but it's on par with everything else on the bar.
It's on par with the bar.
Again, we're kidding ourselves if we think that we're going to take this out, and do large scale concerts with it or something silly,
Excellent. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Absolutely. This, I do think, is already revolutionizing the industry, and I think it will continue to revolutionize the industry. And it is not as much a product as it is a family of products.
Okay.
And I'm going to show one in particular that represents the family. But the Prime series, as it is now from Denon, we had the Prime 4, which of course was very successful, and we continue to sell, continue to move a couple of those a week or whatever it is. But this is the Prime Go you're seeing on the screen, and there's also now the Prime 2. So we have slightly less expensive and smaller versions, which again are standalone ecosystems. And of course, Denon DJ has also incorporated their support for linking this to SoundSwitch for lighting control, and also Resolume for video control and that sort of thing. The Prime Go in particular is neat because it has a built-in lithium-ion battery and Wi-Fi, and you could literally use this thing without any power. Now, why you would, I haven't any idea. I don't know, but you could. So
Good.
they must have thought somebody would, or they wouldn't have built it, I suppose. And it's selling. I can tell you that it is selling. But the Prime 2 also very popular. And what's really cool is this has actually increased the popularity of the Prime 4 as well.
I could see that.
Yeah, because I think now people realize that this is now an ecosystem. I think in the past, DJs have bought a controller, and you get a controller, and you have it until the next best controller comes out, and then you get rid of it and you buy that controller, which is good for us dealers. But this probably changes things in the DJ's favor, that, we're seeing fairly rapid deployments of firmware. And because these things basically are just running software, you're getting a new controller every time that firmware comes out. New features are being added, new functionality to that touchscreen. You can store your music and things on board. So it's they kind of likened it to like a phone, an iPhone or an Android, and new iOS comes out. You basically have a new phone, The operation and the functionality of the phone is driven by the software. And the same here, I think, for this unit. So I think what people are seeing is that the Prime 4 wasn't really, a fluke or anything. It was the first of now what is a family. And people understand Denon DJ's commitment to developing this family of controllers with software. So it has definitely bolstered their popularity. And frankly, it's bolstered our confidence in selling it.
I can see that.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it, I think.
Yeah.
That's why it made the list.
One cool thing, and I hadn't even thought about it, MJ, we talked about this last night on the show a little bit, and he, coming from where that club scene, was talking about that there are more and more places that have a Prime 4 there, and if you were going to be traveling to wherever, if you're traveling to Vegas and you knew you were going to be using a Prime 4, you can use this on the airplane to be basically getting your sets put together and tweaking your sets a little bit, and then once you're there, you do your set on the more expensive Prime 4, and then you're back and tweaking for your next spot. So it's like, oh yeah, you can see where that functionality and portability and that ability to use that same thumb drive on any Prime series device and be ready to go. There's definitely value to that.
Excellent points, John. Yeah, excellent points. And besides, how cool can you possibly be to be DJing on an airplane? Not gonna lie, if I looked over and saw somebody working on a set, I'd be like, that dude is hardcore.
Neat. Good stuff. Okay, what do we have next?
Next, we have, it looks like something we already have.
It does.
But it's not. It's different. This is the new Evolv 30. And the question probably everybody has is, what's different about it?
Exactly.
So let's start first with what's the same about it. And what we see is, of course, it is a column style array with asymmetric J-curve on the drivers. And my favorite part in the picture, we see the black things with the screw sticking out. Those are waveguides, which is without a question why this sounds so much smoother than the other columns that I've tested. Waveguides are not new science. We use them all the time.
Are you showing something?
Line array boxes and that sort of thing. There's a high frequency waveguide for a line array box. Normally they have a couple of these in there. So, the fact that they employed that on the 50 was one of the reasons we saw that tremendously even coverage. We didn't lose frequencies as we got out to the, excuse me, I got NAMM thrax while I was at NAMM.
Yeah, I've heard a few got that this year.
Yeah, every year. You put 150,000 people in a building, what are you going to do? Anyway, so that's why we have this really smooth frequency dispersion, across the arc. So nice to see that the 30 has that as well. Really no surprise. Has the magnetic poles and other familiar features we've come to love. But what's different about it is this now has an 8-channel mixer on it. And as you can see, we have 6 mic preamps on the back here. So we could plug 6 different microphones in, plus a stereo channel, plus we can stream Bluetooth and that sort of thing to it. It also has a high Z input, so you could plug a guitar directly into this. Has phantom power, so you can plug condenser mics or active DIs into this. And it has an aux out, so you could take and mix a monitor mix from this, which is super cool. Obviously, this is really designed at live music and musicians, but it has some really cool applications for DJs as well. A couple of the cool features it has on board is it has a huge suite of effects on board. So, reverb and that sort of thing that we can apply to vocals. and where I see this being really and by the way, it's very easy to control. There's just a button above each channel. You push to select that channel, and you're controlling it from the jog wheel there. But you can also use the app. They've got an app, and they've got the updated Bluetooth chip, so it's got pretty good range. And you can simply mix from the app, as most people do now anyway with digital mixers. You know, it's just kind of the way people do things. I kind of still like knobs and handles, but anyway, this is just the way it's going, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Cool features, you know, if we're doing a ceremony or something, and we've got some musicians and maybe instrumentalists or some vocals involved, super easily set up for that. You know, we could use a vocalist with a little bit of reverb and maybe a little bit of custom EQ, and we could have a separate input for the pastor's mic set up completely different, so we don't have weird, you know, reverb on the pastor's mic or whatever, the officiant, however you want to say that.
Sure.
Again, you know, being able to plug in keyboard, guitar, other instrumentation, things like that from a wedding ceremony, you know, super easy to do. A lot of people said, man, I wish it was battery powered. I do too. That's not in the cards. Don't wait for it. It's not coming. But it's easily solved with something like a little Duracell battery pack. You know, the power draw on this is really low. And I really thought this was cool. Another place that this might be really cool would be karaoke, because, you know, you've got the reverb and everything built in. So
Sure.
For those applications where DJs are having to carry outboard mixers, and you and I've talked about having to bring outboard mixers for different events.
Certainly.
This is literally has a digital mixer built in. You have a Dynacord mixer built into the speaker. So it's an Evolv and a speaker. And they got locked in a closet for a while, and out comes the Evolv 30. So, you know.
So let's compare and contrast a little bit the back or the brains of this compared to the Evolv 50. What are we seeing different between the two?
Well, again, the input channels is really the thing. The fact that it has that digital mixer. It's also a little bit smaller. It has 2.5-inch top drivers instead of 3.5, and it has a 10-inch sub instead of 12-inch. So it's a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter. Obviously, you don't need something as big and powerful as the 50 for a wedding ceremony or karaoke or something like that. I think this was really aimed at you know, musicians doing small live gigs, busking, coffee shop, that sort of thing. It's obviously, you know, there's a ton of demand for it, and it's obviously selling really, really well. So, you know, obviously they knew where they were going with it, but I see some benefits for DJs here. I really do. So it made my list.
Nice.
It kind of struck me as sort of the perfect all-in-one ceremony system. I think the only things that would have made it better would be if it had battery and if it had built-in wireless mics. But again, those things add cost and they add weight, and they're not really necessary for everybody. And so, you know, sometimes we don't just get what we wish for. But short of those things, like I said, I think it's a great ceremony solution, or any place that we are maybe having to involve musicians as well. You know, that sort of things.
Is there a noticeable difference in sound at let's say a kind of a background cocktail level volume? Is there a noticeable difference between an Evolv 30 and an Evolv 50?
That's a really hard question to answer. I mean, the short answer is I would say yes, because it's a 10 sub and not a 12 sub. But the long answer is no, not really. It's a great sounding system. I mean, I think if we at low level, if we played both, I don't think anybody would really be able to tell, particularly, you know, depending on the program material. You know, the type of music that's typically played in those situations. I don't think so. It only goes to 123 dB instead of 127, if my memory serves me.
Yep, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Is it right?
I think it's at 122 actually, but yeah, you're pretty close for, you know,
whatever. Yes,
a guy who's had right. You know, traveled for 73 hours on Sunday. So yeah, I mean, I think it serves a purpose, mm-hmm. and, you know. Undoubtedly, again, right rig for the gig. It's not for everybody. Might be for you, might not be for you. I can tell you it's for a lot of people because they're selling. So. Yeah. And the black ones are shipping from what I heard. So
yes, we have them in stock. So black is shipping now. Get them or don't.
I guess that's pretty much your options. Yeah.
It also comes with this nifty little backpack thing, and it has a 2-part pole inside. It's a little bit taller. You know, because we've got a little bit shorter top, and then there's the top piece fits in here. So your poles and your top and cables and everything fit in this nifty little backpack that you can run around and wear, I guess. So,
and that is part that comes with the unit. You don't. That's not an additional purchase.
That comes with the unit. Yep.
Okay. Nice.
Yep, that comes with the unit. You still have the option of adding a rolling bag like with the 50. It's actually the same bag. Or you can add the sub cover.
Nice. Excellent. Okay, let's keep going. We're knocking them out now. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, buddy. All right. So this next one is so cutting edge that there is nothing on the manufacturer's website. And the best picture I could get was from one of Katie's videos, which, by the way, if you're not watching Katie's videos, what are you doing? You can watch those on the Disc Jockey News TV YouTube, or you can watch them on the NLFX Pro YouTube, or you can watch them on both, because frankly, we could both use the viewers. So, you know.
You can go to youtube.com/NLFX Professional, all one word. That will pop you out there. And Katie has a lot of videos that she shot at NAMM this year, and they're all right there. But this is one of them.
I think it's just NLFX Pro, actually.
No, it's professional. It's all spelled out. I checked it. It's professional.
Is it both?
Maybe the Pro works too, but it's the main one is NLFX Professional, all written out on YouTube. youtube.com/NLFX Professional.
Hold on, I'm gonna check. I'd be really embarrassed if I don't know our own YouTube.
Yeah, that would be bad. youtube.com/NLFXPRO. Delete.
Yep. youtube.com/ oh, no, it says there's an...
No, so both of them work. So you guys
good job, marketing.
So they both work. So you could just type in the Pro, or if you wanted to type it all out, you can do that too.
Yes. Good job, marketing team. Glad they're ahead of the game. So,
excellent.
Yes, NLFX Pro, save you some consonants and vowels.
Exactly.
And most importantly, be sure to hit subscribe. There's going to be more things coming yet. And of course, you are already subscribed to DJ News, right? Everybody should be subscribed to DJNTV.
Everybody's watching. That's where we're at. Okay, so tell us, what is that gentleman holding? Not the microphone, the other piece.
He's holding a microphone with a mic flag on it that says NLFXPro.com, where you should go to buy your things. I think we're going to have a contest to see if anybody can say this like 5 times really fast. But if I've got the name right, it is the Color Key AirPar Cobb Quad. Color Key AirPod Quad Cobb. Nah, you messed it up already.
Oh, it was so close. I mean,
so let's just talk about what it is, since we can't say the name of it.
Exactly. It's from Color Key.
It is a wireless battery-powered uplight that uses a chip-on-board LED, so COB, Cobb, which has very, very wide, smooth coverage, as we've talked about in some previous shows before this thing even existed.
Yes.
So we have that advantage of the really wide, smooth coverage, excellent color mixing, virtually no banding whatsoever from this chip-on-board diode, and very light, compact, battery-powered wireless DMX fixture. So a cool, innovative thing, we thought.
So because it has more of a wash, then it's not going to be shooting, in essence, up the wall as much as it would be washing the area wider on the wall. Correct?
Yeah, it definitely goes up the wall, but not as much of a stripe. Exactly, it's a wider, smoother wash.
Nice. Any information? You said it wasn't on the website, so do we know anything about? And I haven't watched the video actually. I missed this one. Did they talk about runtime or anything to that effect?
No, it is brand new, and they if they did, that didn't make it in our video, and I don't have those specs. And frankly, I want to test it for myself anyway before I tell viewers what it's going to do. So here's what I'll say. If you are interested in being one of the first to get information on this light, or if you are interested in being one of the first to get this light, shoot me an email, or Katie, and that's KATIE at NLFXPro.com, and say, I want the light that Ben and John can't pronounce, which we think is the AirPlay, gotta look, it's Color Key AirPlay Cobb Quad.
It's the quad, the Cobb Quad.
Cobb, the AirPlay, the Color Key Cobb.
It's that light that was little and had a round thing on it.
We'll get the idea. And we will get you published specs and, of course, pricing when that's available. And more importantly, we will do some hands-on testing with this, and we'll see what this bad boy does. But pretty excited about it. As you can see by his hand, it's tiny.
Yeah, it is. A very compact unit.
Very lightweight. Katie's video is worth a watch. And, again, here's a screenshot from it. This video is shot right at NAMM. You'll get kind of a sneak peek as to what's going on. like I said, just shoot us a message and we will make sure that you get info as it develops.
Excellent.
More news at 11.
Ta-da. Okay, we're getting kind of down that list.
We are, which is good because I just got my voice back from NAMM. I kind of nursed it all day. People were like, "Can you give me a call?" I'm like, "No,
No.
no, I cannot." All right, number 5. I think we're on. Maybe. Go, Daddy-o.
Come on.
What is going on?
Maybe because we can't pronounce it properly.
There, I guess for whatever reason my button isn't working anymore, so I'll just do it the old-fashioned way with the mouse.
Okay, this is something I definitely haven't seen. I missed.
This is a magnetic dance floor module.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I wanted to show the module because there are no wires to connect these. They connect magnetically. And here you can see kind of an exploded view showing the power ramps and then the panels and the power supply. And you can keep adding them. There are additional power supplies you can get that will power up to 40. So you can make this dance floor much bigger, but it comes in a kit with 9 panels and the corner ramps and all that good stuff. And here we can see a picture of it kind of in daylight, you know. And here we can see, of course, at a gig at night, it's or in the dark, really pretty cool. And obviously we have all kinds of fun control over this thing, make some cool patterns, and have a bit of fun with it. And it comes in a road case in a 9-pack. You can buy all the parts individually as well, but I think the easy thing is just to keep buying packs in the road case. It's simple, right?
Excellent. That'd be cool.
These are in stock and shipping. We have some available to ship. So if you want to get your hands on one, of course, that might have changed by the time I've done this show because these are also pretty popular. But anyway, you can get your hands on one.
How tall are those? Are those about a 3-inch tall piece?
Yeah, they're very low. I think it's actually 2 something. I think.
Okay.
And I do not recall. I do apologize, but these are on the ADJ website. They're also on the NLFX website, so we can look and see. But they did a good job so that they're not a trip hazard or something.
Yeah, those the edges. They did a nice job with that to really help with that.
Yeah. And again, magnetic, no wires. That's nice.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have the little connections that are made, and those little connections over time will.
Oh, they're the failure point for sure.
Wear out and such. We're magnets.
The other ones that had the little cables, you had to loop around, and the cables were always breaking. And anyway, and of course, it's ADJ, so parts are going to be available and services available, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I saw that was definitely a cool look on the video. And you guys, again, go to youtube.com/NLFX Pro, and you can see the video that Katie did where they went and looked at this. That was a pretty neat video demonstrating how those work. So,
yeah, and again, if you have questions about things that you saw at NAMM, feel free to reach out to us. We're pretty blunt. We're pretty forthright. So, if you talk to us privately and you ask us what we think, we're going to tell you. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So,
and if you bring ice cream, you'll get another.
Maybe have to use a little more discretion when I'm being recorded, but obviously these things I like, or I wouldn't have put them on my list.
There you are. So, we are up to our last one.
Yes, and this one is another bleeding edge, cutting edge product. What we will see in the video is a prototype. If you go check out the video, I believe I have a picture of it for you here. There it is, screenshot from Katie's video. And this is the Super TBar from Gravity. And this is expandable, so you can adjust the distance left to right. And this is a quick release where this little brass bolt we can see here. Let's see if I can, I don't know how well you can see that.
Yeah, there it's coming in.
Okay, that little brass bolt right here just pops right out of this assembly with the quick release. And you could leave it attached to your moving light or whatever kind of light you want to put on this thing, I suppose. And, but make like on a moving light, you could mount that right to the Omega bracket or something and then just pop it in. So you could have 2 moving lights, bang, bang right there, or one big one by just sliding these in. And I thought that was a very cool little deal. I
Yeah.
kind of like that. You take like the flat base stands and pop this on top, and having that quick release. It's all about speed. Throw a couple of the gravity clips on there, and you're off to the races. You get a very clean look and a very quick look. So just something different, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I like
things
the
that
look.
speed things up. I'm all about speed.
And that looked like that definitely, as you say, with putting 2 moving head fixtures up there. You can leave it there. It's a quick attach. Push the button, drop it in. Push the button, take it out.
Yep, bingo. So this again is a prototype. They're not in production. We made some suggestions for some things to change, which they're going to do, and these will be in production. So if you want to be one of the first to get one, be sure to contact us, and we'll get you on the waiting list, because when they come in, I promise you they will be gone and will be sold. So,
Yeah, that was a very cool idea. And I like that from my understanding, that was a common light stand mount there with a little set screw on it. So you can use a taller light tree if you so chose.
yeah, it's a standard 1 3/8, and the sizing of that was again one of the suggestions we made with them. But yeah, it'll fit any basic 1 3/8 stand that you have, light stand, speaker stand, whatever. We put it on a flat base stand here just for the video, but yeah, it's universal. So at least it will be when it comes out.
Excellent. That's what we like to see.
And that is my list.
Excellent.
So I'll take off the screen share, and then we can maybe field some questions or just talk about football. Or
Well,
I don't know.
let's talk a little bit about. You mentioned prototypes. We had the gravity piece that was a prototype, and the color key. Color key, was it color keys?
Yes, color key.
The cob light, the corn cob subliminal butter on the husk light. Those are kind of prototypes. For those who have are like, what do you mean? They're showing these things and they're not They're not ready in production. Why do we find these at NAMM? Where the prototypes?
Well, you know what NAMM stands for. NAMM stands for not available until mid-May. So that was a joke.
It was. Yeah, exactly. I'm waiting for the crowds to die down in the laughter.
Yeah, me too. It was my let me try it again. Maybe
Okay.
it was the delivery. So you know what NAMM stands for?
No. What does NAMM stand for?
Not available until mid-May.
Oh, Ben, you just cracked me up.
All right.
Okay, good.
You can try it again.
Do we feel better now? Did it come
You
out
know
on
what
video?
NAMM stands for? Oh. Okay, all right. Anyway, a lot of manufacturers, it's one of those things, and I get why they do it. It just drives me nuts, because when I see something new that's cool, I want to have it. You know, I want to order it. I want to have it for my customers. I maybe want to have it for me. You know, whatever. But a lot of times manufacturers are less certain, and so they'll bring out prototypes, and they'll kind of go on a fishing expedition. They'll put it out at NAMM and see if anybody does like it, you know, see if they get orders for it, see what kind of feedback they get from dealers. Pricing often changes right after NAMM, you know, sometimes they feel like they've got something that's too expensive.
Yeah.
Or they've got something that's too cheap. So a lot of times NAMM is really a fishing expedition. Excuse me. Did I mention Namthrax?
Yeah, you did mention that after your 92-hour trip on Sunday, that it's catching up with you.
You know, one of the best swag items ever, and you know what swag stands for? Stuff we ain't got. But it's anyway. Swag is things that manufacturers sometimes give away. Stickers, or T-shirts are like gold. I mean, I don't know if anybody had T-shirts this year. I think Sure did, but anyway, stuff they give away. Can openers. Somebody had can openers this year. Bottle openers, I guess it was, or maybe it was the can opener, whatever. The little pop soda can opener. I think American DJ maybe had those. Or anyway, one of the best swag items that I remember forever was from Personas years ago, and it was a tan prescription bottle with a label on it that had the cure for Namthrax. And so I didn't think of that. I can't take credit for having that. And inside it was mints. So yeah, that was a great thing. Everybody's got these prescription bottles. Look, and I thought, how great is this? Because this is the music industry, right? So there's 150,000 musicians and people who work in the music industry, and you can see them walking up and down Catella Boulevard in Anaheim, like popping pills out of a pill bottle, you know?
Yeah, that
just you know. Sure, we did a lot to tidy up the image of our industry that week.
Yeah. What are they doing? Oh yeah, they're doing pills again. That's just the music.
Such a great idea. I've thought about stealing it for future shows. We've never done it. So at the Photo Booth Expo, maybe.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be great.
Come get your pill bottle.
Come get a pill bottle full of mints. Sure they are. Yeah, I can see that. It's going to be a great selling point for us. So let's see. So prototypes. As you were talking about that, I'm trying to think back because we've seen a lot of things that we saw at NAMM and that they never saw the light of day. After that,
so there's one that did see the light of day, or maybe that's where you're leading me.
Yeah, no. I was trying. Where I was headed to is there's a few things I was trying to remember. A couple of them that people, when we did the video, people were like, "Oh my gosh, it was great," and then we never saw them again.
Yeah, so one that comes to mind actually would be the Alto Stealth Pro, which I thought was completely dead. They showed that like in 2013.
It's 5 years ago. I went and looked. It was over 5 years at NAMM. We did that one, and
and it just never, ever, ever shipped. And then this year, Alto said, "Hey, we're coming out with this," and we went, "Yeah, right." But they did, and we have them in stock. They actually exist. I have had my hands on them. We have them in stock, so they are really real this time. And who knows? I couldn't even begin to speculate what took 5 years. But anyway, yeah, there are many things that never, ever do appear ever.
So one that's standing out to me, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong on this, back in the American Audio days when they were doing the controllers, they had the VMS 4, and then 4.1, whatever, but that was a black, and I think they came out with a white version that they shipped. At NAMM, I think one of the years we saw a plastic glow-in-the-dark version.
I remember that.
You remember that? And I don't think we ever saw or heard boo of that one after the fact. And that was one of those things that was, here, what do you guys think of it? Because that was what they're doing. Getting the feedback from people. Would you think there's a market for this? And obviously, if the glow-in-the-dark controller wasn't a big marketing thing, they were ahead of their time because you know what? Then everybody started putting LEDs in speakers, and now look what we have.
Well, I think, gosh, there's so many things you see at NAMM. I saw a Chinese speaker company's booth get shut down and people hauled out in handcuffs because they had just blatantly stolen some technology. One of Katie's most popular posts this year was a booth that was shut down for not abiding by the sound rules.
Oh my.
Every trade show has those rules, and at the DJ shows, they're just not really enforced. But NAMM, you don't mess around. You break the sound rules and out you go. So.
Yes. We actually got a couple of emails during NAMM reminding, if you're the 85 and it has to be quiet and you can't have DJs performing and it's like, oh my.
I kind of thought that might have been like the best marketing ever, just deliberately get shut down and, hey, my speaker's the loudest, but
sorry, our booth is closed. We got shut down by NAMM. I mean, not many people can say that they were shut down by NAMM.
Gotcha.
Oh, funny. Well, cool. I think we got through the 6 items, and now it's time for you to recoup and recover a little bit. The national
a couple more long days, and then I'm back on a plane on the 27th, and going to become a HD Bass T certified instructor.
And he'll be out in California getting that training. Yep. So that should be fun. So I think that pretty much covers it for tonight. For those of you who want to get a chance to check up or catch up with us, in February, we will be at the DJNTV Photo Booth Expo Convention at the South Point, February 24th through the 27th. You can go to djntv.com/tickets, get your tickets for the show. This is in the video description. Go out there, promo codes in the description, get your tickets, and we will be there hanging out for that week at the South Point in Las Vegas. So
yes, be sure to get your tickets. Be sure to come see us. John has worked exceptionally hard on this show, and I am working exceptionally hard on my speech.
Excellent.
I got the title down.
Nice.
That's about what I've got done so far.
Oh, no, you've got more than that. You're just saying that just to.
Yeah, we've talked about some things, but, it literally is here next to me on the desk. So I'm
Getting ready
working on it.
getting ready to go. So,
You know,
go
we
ahead.
talked about it. And I know it's time to wrap up here, but we talked about it. I think the hardest thing is, I've got to tell some deeply personal stuff here, and that's that's a hard thing to do. But I also want to make sure that it connects with people in the right way and resonates in the right way. And I think there's a lot that people will identify with and resonate with. We're all taking risks in business, and we're all sacrificing, time and relationships and all those sorts of things. So I think it's I'm looking forward to it. So I guess we'll see how it ends. But
Yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to having the rest of the world that maybe don't know Ben Stowe beyond the tech Ben Stowe, where they can see the passion for people and the passion for the industry. So should be fun. I'm excited.
yeah, and unlike Star Wars, I'm actually trying to figure out what my ending will be before I get started on the beginning. So I'm not bitter though. I'm not bitter.
No, not at all.
I enjoyed Rise of Skywalker. So.
Yeah, we still can't talk. There's probably somebody who hasn't seen it yet, so we can't talk about it fully yet. But
No.
then we can.
But if you haven't seen it, are you really a Star Wars fan? I've seen it three times, and I'm a pretty busy guy. If you haven't seen it by now, are you really a Star Wars fan?
That's true. Are you?
Are you? But are you really?
Yeah, exactly. But then again, there's some of us who, it was the whole completely changing of the, we had the one universe, the Star Wars universe, and then they changed it on us, and it became
that's a whole other show.
That's
I kind
show.
of hope they do another trilogy without Skywalkers. And as much as I love it, obviously everybody knows how I feel about Star Wars, and I've loved the Skywalker saga. But I think this is a really cool opportunity to start a new arc, kind of like what they did with Mandalorian, and introduce us to new categories that are still connected to canon, but have an ending in mind when you start it. And I think this thing could be a great story. I think there could be more great Star Wars stories that can come.
Yeah, and I think, as you made reference to Mandalorian, and that's a great example that it can happen, and if it's done well, it can be very, very popular. I was talking to a few Star Wars fans, and they're like, my favorite Star Wars movie, in the top 2 or 3 is, they're referring to Mandalorian as being one of their favorites now, because they did such a good job with that. So.
It is interesting, though, to hear from people how some people love the prequels, which I didn't love them. And I think that's the great thing, is there's not a right answer. There's not a wrong answer, whatever you like is what you like. And that's okay. That it speaks to so many different people in different ways, some people like Jar Jar Binks. And they're wrong, but
Yeah, exactly. We will judge them forever because of that. But, hey, everybody's got to have their coffee in the morning. So, yay.
I better let you go, John. You got another show coming up here with Brian Red.
Actually,
tonight, right?
No, Brian is traveling today, so this is it. We're wrapping up for tonight, and I think we've got someone coming up tomorrow night. I don't remember who, but we'll be putting those links up tomorrow afternoon for the show, and and then next week we will be back and covering more of those questions you guys have about gear on Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe. Ben, thanks for being on and putting your list together for us tonight.
My pleasure.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.